post-match when we get to see what shenanigans he's going to be up to on social media, talking about his games. But here we go, getting into it. Looking at the history for these players so far in the tournament, lnguagehackr got to the top 8 here by beating Fled's Priest twice, which is a matchup that you expect lnguagehackr to win. And he did lose to No Hands Gamer's Mage 2-1, but a close series. So he's got the tools necessary to do it. It can just be very difficult because things just have to line up well. You have to get soul fragments at the right times. You have to stay alive long enough, find tempo, find a turn to play Jiraxis, or hit the right burns with Ticketus. Like, these things have to line up, whereas Nalguidan just has to like hit decent hands, right? A single Encounters flow and a little bit of card draw, and he's off to the races.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty decent start for Nalguidan, to say the least. Wow, more ammo. And Nalguidan...
He's going to play Lunacy.
Yeah, he's going to be playing Lunacy. He wants to be productive, but more importantly, understands what the break points of the mana cost that he's trying to go for. Don't discount the spells before you transform them to get the big swing, right? You can play Encounters Flow after you play Deck Lunacy. And Warlock is a deck, it's a class that gives you the time to do so. But then Warlock starts putting on the pain in the late game, so it's not like you can take too long.
Yeah. Oh, what? We got the well. Cool. I actually never seen it before. Sorry, got distracted by shiny purple bright lights. Yep, there's the deck of Lunacy as foretold by the no Encounters flow on 2, as you mentioned. And now we got ourselves a good old-fashioned game of Hearthstone, Dan. This is what Hearthstone was meant to be. You put cards in your deck, and then you change all those cards into random cards.
Yeah, do you put cards in your deck, TJ? Or are the cards playing us?
Okay, survival of the fittest. A dead draw for now.
Yes.
Looks like
one big board building card like a Glowfly Swarm, or as you saw, some of the multitude of token cards that you can get. And it's a different story.
Yeah, lnguagehackr nodding. He's saying, okay, so you consciously made the choice to go for a non-Encounters flow deck of Lunacy.
Oh yeah,
which I think against Warlock is just wise, right? Because you don't need Libra of Hopes. There's a lot more dead draws when you're talking about the mana break points. Okay, Malevolent Strike.
Okay.
Perfect way to deal with the Ogremmancer.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Language Clapper. He's back. I missed him.
That was perfectly played by Nalguidan. Just the deck of Lunacy into just like, my deck should be good enough to finish this the rest of the way. And all my cards cost 0.
Yeah.
4 mana discount across the board on all of his cards. 4.
And we don't even know what those cards are. That's the exciting part, Dan.
Yes.
It could be anything.
It was the way that Hearthstone was meant to be, as you have described it, TJ. Which is, we don't even know what's going to happen, not even the pilot. And now lnguagehackr, from his perspective, what can he do, right? As much as we're joking and kind of talking about like how this is, absolutely chaos, can you find a way to beat variance? We've even had one of the most exciting world championships to ever have happened in almost any game with Hunter-Race versus Viper, and it was a situation quite familiar. Can you find a way to weather the storm? And it's almost even more impressive than anything else that you can do in Hearthstone, to be able to survive games like this.
He does have tools to survive, right? His hand is nearly all different forms of removal. He's got double Moarg. He picked a Moarg from Demonic Studies, which means that he has triple... Rust! Determination! Dan, I can't handle it.
this board.
I can't.
Jay.
I can't handle it. 4 Rustwicks. Get me out.
Sign me in. I mean, Nalguidan is chuckling because you can't even make this up. If you ask Nalguidan to creatively, as an open writing prompt, like as a creative writing class, can you come up with a series of 3 cards that can tilt Language Hacker off the face of the planet? I don't think he could have come up with something better than this.
Nope. In fact, right now, because I can't think of any way to analyze this game state, I am sending Derek Brown a message for his top 5 moments of the week to tell him to go take a look at the quadruple Rustwicks that was able to be made from the deck of Lunacy. Yes,
Let's think about the primes that can get shuffled in. What if Nalguidan gets like 6 Sword Prime and Survival of the Fittest? And then just draws the most powerful boards.
I mean, there's OTKs that are possible with like Flash Prime.
True. That is true.
I mean, there's also just the fact that this is just a really difficult board to deal with. From Language Hacker's perspective, it's 2 5/4s that resummon themselves.
Right. Okay, I don't think
Grand finale.
any of the cards he played with elemental, so you can just play Survival of the Fittest and start pressuring for what, a 2-turn lethal if he can, because he has the Mask of Cthulhu. Oh man.
Well, he's got ways to deal with this.
Right.
Not great ones though. He could do some double Moarg stuff. He could go like double Moarg, Tamsin Rome, Drain Soul, which would heal him to full. Use a lot of resources, but he would clear the board and hopefully set up for a potential Jiraxis, right? But it looks like he's got something different on his mind. It looks like he's just going to deal with the large Rustwicks. This Rustwicks, I believe, still has a smaller Rustwicks tucked underneath him.
Yep. It's just Rustwicks all the way down, TJ. Mishfin Prime. Or Gurgle Prime, excuse me.
Mishfin Prime would have been great here too. Actually, any of the primes, except a comma. Get out of here, comma. You don't belong.
Comma Prime would not be it.
All in due time.
Maybe they're just all comma primes.
That is pretty good because there's Twisting Nether exists.
Also true. I'm gonna just go for Grand Finale and just continue to build tempo here. Mask of Cthulhu. Okay, I mean, he's mana efficient that way. I don't mind that.
He could push more with Cascading Disaster, but I think he wants to use that for that big tempo swing. I don't think he needs to set up for like a super fast lethal because he just doesn't know what's gonna come off the top of the deck. Could be any one of the primes. Could be, at this point, because of the way his deck is built, how many different types of spell he has. Oh, wow.
That's huge.
That is huge.
Now Language Hacker can actually justify playing Lord Jiraxis in this position.
You face Jiraxis.
That is so big. Wow.
Lord of the Burning Legion.
And you know, the thing is, as much as Nalguidan has a lot of stuff going on, the one thing that's missing out of his hand is card draw. If you can find a card that, like, if you find Skull Gul'dan off the top, then I think Language Hacker.
Is that a combo prime? Oh.
Okay. Oh man, Kurgle Prime.
So
30
Language Hacker does
Murlocs.
He does have a clear for this. It would be Tamsin Rome School Spirits and then Moarg School Spirits. That's an 8-mana play. You could actually fit in a hero power with that. That's not bad.
I wonder
I like it. It's not bad. It's not the best use of Tamsin Roam, but it is one that is necessary. And Nalguidan is running out of threats. And we talked about how threat checks can be a real problem. And Warlock getting Draxus out this early is an infinite value generator with the hero power, as long as you can sustain yourself.
Haven't heard of me? You will.
Yeah, is lnguagehackr doing this? He's about to put on one of the most impressive ways to hold off its deck of Lunacy Mage.
I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Dan, that it is impossible to tell.
Yes, because very much is. I'm asking.
Literally anything could happen off the top of Nalguidan's deck. A Nourish, perhaps.
So he can double load up the board with a Kama Prime and Grand Finale, then start playing the Nourish. That's a 10-9, permanently stuck.
Because the Survival of the Fittest, it buffed all the primes in the deck.
Yeah.
Or not all the primes. It was
some of the
6 of the primes. Yeah, half of the primes.
Hysteria.
It doesn't clear the comma. Okay.
Hey!
Okay.
And now you can play one of the Void Drinkers, TJ!
I mean, this is a lethal setup. Okay, there's a cascading disaster.
lnguagehackr trying to stay hydrated in this intense game of Hearthstone,
Commencement!
Grandmasters. Commencement! I mean, there's a lot of primes in the deck.
It's actually good. Psyche split! A Kama Prime again!
It's just a
Grand Slam! Wait, that's lethal!
Grand Slam is lethal!
It's lethal!
Oh my goodness! What a game! If you could call it that.
Okay, so
able to take game 1 of this best of 3 in true deck of lunacy fashion. It was just a bunch of shenanigans. I mean, I don't really know what to say about what we just saw, other than that's not what you see all the time in Grandmasters, and yet at the same time, it was entirely up the alley of being believable, right? Like it was. That's the game plan of Mage. In a way, you can't get mad because that's what you signed up for, right? Like, you know that this is the Mage's win condition, is to generate random stuff. That's why the deck got nerfed.
Oh, man. So what's also crazy about this is we see lnguagehackr in the top 8 or in the deciders every week. And every week in game number 1s, he has just been getting blasted. And it's always with Warlock. It's been 3 weeks in a row, multiple matches, where in game 1s, it feels like there was nothing he could do to win the game. Yesterday, he got a Luciad on 9 from Fled in his game 1, and got his Ticketus played, and then burned Jiraxis from his deck. The turn before he was going to corrupt it, or could have corrupted it. So, you know, this one I think stings a little bit more because I felt like he actually played really well. It's just that's what the Mage deck is designed to do. That's why Nalguidan, I mean, it was a conscious decision to not play Incanter's Flow on 2 because he realized that Deck of Lunacy has a higher impact. He's afforded the luxury of kind of tanking that early game because he knows that 1/3s on the board are not going to aggro him down. And then from there, it's just about Hearthstone game sense, right? Taking the tools that the game is giving you and trying to piece them together into a win. And sometimes it's pretty easy, but other times it can be more difficult. And you know, that's kind of the fun of Deck of Lunacy. Obviously, Nalguidan had fun. We had fun. lnguagehackr, probably zero fun.
I mean, it was probably a little bit of fun when there's a ray of hope that lnguagehackr could have won, but I'm sure that if he could... Oh...
What?
Look at Nalguidan. Nalguidan's like, oh man, I'm so good at this video game.
That is insane!
He is really good, but sometimes the cards just play themselves. Incanter's Flow, Refreshing Spring Water start things off. I mean, can you ask for a better hand from Nalguidan? I guess you could. Fireball isn't really playable right now for a while, but pretty dang close.
Yeah, I mean, Nalguidan really got some unfortunate pan-outs here. That Fireball could be something a lot different. Oh, man. Mages have been on fire today. I guess all weekend, honestly, since we have so many mages that are making it through. I have Cthulhu, not the best, but Cthulhu is just there as an insurance policy if you have to go on the burn game plan and run out of burn.
Okay, well, this is nice, at least, to start things off. Make it a little bit trickier for Nalguidan to deal with.
Holy.
Maybe the robes of protection, TJ, is better than we're giving it credit for. He kind of tunneled a little bit on Nalguidan because it is the star. It is quite hard. It's a quite bright light that's hard to look away from, if you will.
You want to cast a spell? I want to cast a spell.
However, maybe Language Hacker has something here. Because I'm sure he went into this week understanding that a lot of people wanted to play Mage.
Yes.
Come in. Everyone's a winner.
Game Master just out for tempo. Language Hacker can easily deal with it. Soul Share picks up a Spirit Jailer also to add to the board. Okay. Reasonable.
He's got a good he's got a good tempo game plan going here. He's got Ogremancer, Void Drinker as well. Second Rogue of Protection in case like a Devolving Missiles comes out. So again, as I mentioned before the matchup took place, there is no Deck of Lunacy in this version of the Mage for Nalguidan. So he's operating with the burn in his deck plus the secondary win condition of Cthulhu if the burn plan just doesn't work out. And now Language Hacker's game plan is to try and get as much burn as possible sunk into his minions, so that way he can heal out the late game and use the combination of Ticketus and Draxus to win that late game, and Altar of Fire, of course, to win in that late game. Because it was a good call from him. Altar of Fire, he plays tempo and tries to get burn thrown at minions, and then Altars of Fire and Ticketus is away Cthulhu/Cthulhu pieces to deal with the secondary win condition. So I like it, but there's his tempo gone. Language
Flame
Clapper. Yep.
Ogremancer, though?
Ogremancer can be good. Now much more susceptible to Devolving Missiles since there's less minions on board. Right. But doesn't have a choice but to start from scratch here. And by playing for so aggressively for tempo in this matchup so far, holy moly.
Cthulhu. The mod destroys a minion, and Language Hacker will lose the Ogremancer. If Nalguidan wants to, he also has other alternatives. You could, for example, Fireball instead. Hold on to the ball in case he wants to save it for a more powerful minion that's outside the range of 6 health, or rather 7 because of the Ogremancer, so... And I mean, Mage probably has ways to deal with the Ogremancer. It wasn't the big deal. It was about whether or not he can stop Language Hacker's early aggression, if we can call that aggression as well.
Yeah, that's again, I think that's a win for Language Hacker, because that's now one piece of burn that he doesn't have to worry about. The Fireball, so that's some reach. Doesn't want these additional soul fragments, but has shuffled in a good amount thus far. So still needs to find some big stuff though, because these small minions and Robes of Protection aren't going to win the game by themselves. They will offer him protection against Mask of Cthulhu. He kind of needs to do that. That is the body of Cthulhu, I believe, so that will summon a 6/6. Heart of Cthulhu would have been insane here, to deal 3 damage. Prison Phoenix.
Yeah, he's looking for some kind of minion that can help him swing potentially, because, while he does have a lot of tools to pick apart the board, he doesn't have something that's very clean from his perspective. He would have to use, Mask of Cthulhu very inefficiently, or, in this case, he's just going to play the minions. So the Conjured Mana Biscuit just to save mana for the following turn, improve his plays moving forward. Language Hacker, did he draw all of his soul fragments? He did.
No, he has 4 soul fragments left.
Okay, okay.
So he's still got a good amount. At this point, though,
Tamsin Rome can at least deal with it right now and see if he can pick up more powerful minions as well. And Language Hacker's just basically pushing as much as he can into the center of the board. All damage going upstairs. Nalguidan didn't really deal with the board of small little weenies like this before.
Oh my God!
Oh. Prepare
it's
your
so
claps.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
You can even mana biscuit out the Mask of Cthulhu.
Oh, brutal.
This is quite the game once again for the.
Okay.
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 All right.
Well,
Now the problem becomes Language Hacker's a card in his hand and just gave up life tap. He does have Ticketus though, but he's gonna start dying.
oh my gosh.
Real
Insane amount of
quick.
damage. Eye of Cthulhu plus the Pexus Blast's turn just deals half of Language Hacker's life. Nalguidan, of course,
Yeah.
going to draw cards. That's usually what you want to be able to do with the Cramp Session here when you have spell power. All damage, rather. Be able to amplify it.
Double.
Oh
Rundor.
my goodness. That is filthy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Language Hacker is quite dead. Oh, Twilight Runner.
All right. Well, that was it was a good attempt. Attempt was made. I'm hoping that Language Hacker can make this closer, so that way we can make it more exciting and entertain the viewers a little bit, TJ. But I think I am pretty much just strapping in my seatbelt here for the ride. Nalguidan's about to blast off. I mean, he kind of is, but he's really about to blast off. And Language Hacker has to play a Sociologist. It's a pretty big board. Actually, a very big board. Holy moly.
Yeah, he's actually pushing. That's a very good draw. The problem is there's 12 cards left in Nalguidan's deck, and there's another Flame Strike in there.
Wait. Hold on. I think we may have spoken a little bit soon. Nalguidan actually has a way to deal with this board. You can draw with the Twilight Runner, right? And you said the Flame Strike is one thing to consider.
Yep, there's the remaining cards. Still some burst left. Flame Strike available. He does need to make some space for potentially Flame Strike, but
Right.
Flame Strike is the out, and he doesn't have any other sources of card draw. Well, he could find it from Evocation as well if he doesn't hit it. So it's a 1 and 6 Fireball.
Wait, Fireball?
A Pexus Blast.
Pexus Blast?
Wait, is that lethal?
11 damage.
That's lethal. Oh no, it's not. It's one off.
Works against
I counted with the spell damage from the last turn. It's 12.
Oh my gosh.
Can
Hold on.
he Font of Power find Lab Partner? Font of Power find Lab Partner?
He needs to stop the lethal from happening. He's going for the ring toss to see if he can survive. Ice Barrier? Ice Barrier! And then he can ping the 3-1. I don't know the secrets that are pulled. It was a little bit too quick. But Ice Barrier should stop that lethal
Soul Fragments?
from happening. Okay, but we have a game, TJ, sort of.
We do.
I mean, it depends on Nalguidan's draw, right?
Yeah.
Intellect.
Flame Strike's still in the deck.
Oh man. But see, Flame Strike doesn't clear everything now.
Oh, it doesn't.
It's no longer the silver bullet that Nalguidan would like in his chamber. Oh, man. Okay, so Nalguidan did not set up a 2-turn lethal. The soul fragments move things a little bit out of the way. Font of Power is something that maybe you can be considering right now. Evolving missiles. Oh, taking his turn to turn elemental. Basically didn't do anything.
It lost 1 power. So he's got to throw burn into minions here, right?
Well, now Apex's Blast won't be able to give Trampling Rhino outs, for example.
All in due time.
Okay.
Evocation. That's a desperation play.
A huge desperation play.
Oh, what's he even looking for? Flame Strike still?
Have studied.
Finds Ring Toss.
Snap
but
freeze, snap freeze.
No way to corrupt it. Okay, Snap Freeze, but then he still has to throw burn at minions because there's 13 damage being represented on board. He has to kill or freeze something else or find Ice Barrier exactly. He didn't find Ice Barrier, and it's not corrupted.
Oh my gosh, he's done it.
He's dead!
Fireball, 5-5. Yes, okay. So he's not.
Yeah, he's not dead, but that again, that's a win for Language Hacker.
A huge win, huge pickup. Killing Ford Ring.
So that'll pull
Surely
either
getting
Void
there.
Drinker or Ogremancer. And even then,
Wow.
like, even if Nalguidan clears the board, Language Hacker just has a weapon swing for lethal. He doesn't play the Tail and Forging because it could be Mirror Entity. I like the hold.
Oh my.
And there's Flame Strike. He did it!
No. Font of Power, is there anything that can change that? There's like an armor
can-
vendor possibility or no.
Could Mask of Cthulhu, all 10 to face, and then Apex's
That's true,
Blast.
that's true.
Warriors of the
It's a mage minion, so armor vendor isn't it?
Rise up.
Oh, there's a lab partner inside the Font of Power, TJ.
It was second, though. He only had 1 hand space. His hand was
Oh,
full.
you're right.
The turn where you need to go for the burst. So it would have gotten the Apex's Smuggler instead. That wasn't lethal out, though. He could have gotten lab partner from that a couple turns ago, but I think overall his play was solid. He gave himself like a 1 in 6 to find Flame Strike, and then he could have even like evoed to get 1 card to a 1 in 40 to find Flame Strike from there. I can't believe it. We were calling this game over.
Against me.
Yeah, an improbable comeback from Language Hacker in a situation where it looked like it was Mage's game to lose. And lose it did. Language Hacker takes game 2. And one of the more impressive comebacks that you'll see, but also goes to show you a couple of things. One, Warlock has some serious late game power, right? You're talking about the infinite value generation of some classes. Warlock's got some of the top tier stuff. 2, Language Hacker keeping himself composed. Yeah, like his plays were kind of easy at one point because he only had 1 card left to really play, but really played to his outs there. And 3, remember there was a turn where Nalguidan could have set up a bunch of burn damage instead decided to draw cards. I was kind of thinking that was a turn to set up burn, right? Like,
Yeah, so was I.
as much as we had card draw going, and again, I think his instinct isn't bad to go for it, but there is one downside, which is what if cards like Eye of Cthulhu and Mask of Cthulhu isn't going to do anything?
Works against me.
And so Nalguidan was stuck with some of the most powerful bursts in his hand, and he couldn't do anything with it because all of his damage that was directed was being used on minions instead. So I was thinking the turn that Prison Phoenix went in, I was like, how much damage does he have with just these like randomly targeted thing that has no minions to hit? It was like half his life, and he was at like 33. It was like 17 damage or something like that. And it was all gone.
At that point, though, I mean, Language Hacker has, what, 1 card in hand and is drawing 1 card a turn because he doesn't have life tap, right? Like, I can't blame him for trying to win the resource battle because he wins the resource battle if he just takes that turn to draw cards because Language Hacker's playing a card a turn, right? He's summoning a 6/6 a turn, but he's playing a card a turn. So, can't really blame him for going for that type of play. But, you know, when 2 players just draw straight gas, right? Language Hacker had a decent early game, and then Drax is into Sociologist at the Ticketus. I would say this is a pretty good opening as well from Language Hacker. Early game minions with Robo Protection. Obviously, Altar of Fire is is mostly there for that late game insurance policy. But then again, at any point in the game, you can just pull the trigger on Altar of Fire, and if you hit burn, or a Cthulhu piece, you're golden. Oh yeah. Flame Imp. Tempo. This is the most hyped series of Hearthstone I've watched all season.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, it's Zoo Warlock time, right? Like trying to transform his deck into a tempo-oriented one as best as he can. Nalguidan just got to shake off that previous game, even if it was supposed to be one that was just barely slipping through his grasp. It should have been his. It's okay, move on. Game number 3. Life tap instead of a Spirit Jailer, and I think it's because it's a nod to what happened the previous game where lnguagehackr literally needed the perfect cards in order to get him out of that situation, and he did get it. The Lord Jaraxxus and the Sociologist Militia.
Yep. Yeah, he needs still needs a little bit of gas in order to make things happen. Getting the Robe of Protection on the board. If you get a Devolving Missiles just on Robes of Protection, I think that's a win. It's one Devolving Missile that you don't have to worry about, and it's not like clearing your board, right? Obviously, it's putting you in a little bit tougher position, but I think the lnguagehackr is much better set up here without seeing Enchantress Flow or Deck of Lunacy early to try and play a little bit greedier. Finds Ticketus now as well, so he has the cards to corrupt. Armor Vendor too.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So again, he's got the ways to corrupt Ticketus, and he's got that curve going with Militia plus Ticketus into Jaraxxus. Though against Mage, those aren't like the most important things. Obviously, they're important last game just because of the way that the matchup panned out. But he'd much rather have cards that played for tempo in the mid game. He'd much rather have the Ogremasters, the Void Drinkers, Kazakis, Robes Protection, Lucky Soul Hoarder, just those mid-game minions at this point to make sure that he can fight well for board. He doesn't want to keep all these combo-ish pieces in his hand. He'd much rather draw the mid-range cards now and then draw these big bombs later on in the game. Nalguidan assembling the burn. It's like an Pexus Blast here.
Pexus Blast is just hard to deal with for tempo reasons, even if your opponent does have a Hysteria. Assuming that the reasonable stat line comes out.
Oh, the Blood Arrow!
Oh. Part of the reason why Janus Barov is so strong is because the pool of 5-cost minions are very good. There's only a handful of minions that are pretty bad, and that is the worst one to really get here for Nalguidan. lnguagehackr is hyped up, to say the least. He feels like momentum's on his side. Nalguidan's Apex has blasted almost nothing. Okay.
Ooh.
Dude. Have we learned?
That's 5 damage to face.
Rip it. 2 fireballs? I mean,
this is possible.
Gain a little bit of life.
He has to play Ticketus here because he's worried about... Oh, no, he's not worried about Mask of Cthulhu. You set up a 2-turn here. That's really his only play, right? Fireball ping? He forces lnguagehackr to have healing?
He did burn a Soul Fragment.
Let me get a Soul Fragment count. He says 2 in the deck currently.
Right. That's part of the reason why it feels kind of sketch to do that. What's the alternative? The alternative is what? Arcane Intellect? Yeah, I think this makes sense. Nalguidan's like,
Oh, he drew a
set
Soul
up for it.
Fragment. That reaction. Drew a Soul Fragment. Yep.
Oh, boy. Oh,
I drew both Soul Fragments. Those are the only 2 in the deck.
2 quick ones. And there's no actual Sociologist Militia activation of the Battle Cry. There's no souls that pop out.
That's a 5/5. That's it.
Whatever. We take those.
Oh, man. I mean, Nalguidan's not even close to being out of burn in the deck. He's got 2 masks. He's got an Apexis Blast, and he still has a Fireball in hand. lnguagehackr is very far from being home free. He does have double Drain Soul, but that's a good chunk of his turn invested. The problem for Nalguidan here is he's looking at 13 damage on board. And the way this game has panned out, he really doesn't have the luxury of throwing burn into minions. He needs to find like Brain Freeze here or something to just try and block some damage. Okay, Ruined Orb, Mask of Cthulhu. I mean, every ounce of damage. Okay.
Works against me.
Ruined Orb can find something to help him continue to add to that burn train if he can keep it up. Wildfire
Flurry buys him
something?
time. Yeah, I think
It's true.
Flurry
Flurry buys some time. Flurry buys some time. I like it.
buys some time. Okay, Spirit Jailer.
So, I mean, we're just ripping these Drain Souls, right? Like,
Yes, yes. I think you can even tap.
ooh, tap, I think, is starting to get to bold territory. Your opponent just discovered a spell. He threw Fireball to your face, which makes me feel like you know that Fireball number 2's in the hand.
There's only one discounted card in hand.
Yes, I'm just saying that you feel like you can reasonably come to the conclusion that Nalguidan has additional burn in the hand when he committed the Fireball to the face, right? What starts to become a little bit more ambiguous is whether or not that second card that he just discovered off the orb is good enough. Oh, by the way, there's mana worms that are also piling on the damage here. Oh, Language Hacker has to debate if he wants to here.
Yeah, so the thing about Drain Soul there is that if you Drain Soul that, you gain 3, but that 3 would have been gained from Mask of Cthulhu anyway. It doesn't work out one-to-one like that because there's a lot more health on board, but it's just so much damage. He's just drawing all damage.
Okay, so Flurry is good, but I think, okay.
Yeah, he has
Is this a situation where you're supposed to use Mask of Cthulhu first, eliminate a little bit of the board, then Flurry, then set up for the burn? Because you know that you're going to do some trickle damage to your opponent. Oh, we also have Heart of Cthulhu. What does your opponent want to do next turn on 9? He wants to play Draxus. Draxus would put him at 20 life. Okay. Oh, Nalguidan also probably says the 5-mana minion is going to be good enough. Should be. Pinging face. Pressure is on. Language Hacker does not have the ability to feel like he can just be safe playing Lord Draxus. There, number 2.
Hysteria, essentially a dead draw.
Nice thing is at least Draxus cancels out the 4 attack. And you get to put on pressure. I mean, Language Hacker is technically setting up his own 2-turn lethal. Nalguidan has 6 from the Fireball. A refreshing draw here that allows him to be able to get 2 extra cards potentially for burn. These are the remaining cards in his deck.
Not much burn left. It's just a Mask and a Ruined Orb. But he can find Primordial Studies, Font of Power. Those can find additional spell damage. He could also find cheap ways to deal with the board, like Brain Freeze, to make his Mask of Cthulhu deal more damage. Flame Strike?
Yeah, Flame Strike is huge. Just allows him to swiftly deal with the board and not have to worry about anything else. Yep, and with that, now you're not able to push that 5.
I mean, that should be game. It's hard for me to think of a card that he could draw.
Well, Mask of Cthulhu doesn't exactly kill him, right?
Mask of Cthulhu plus Fireball should be enough. If there's 6 health on board, yeah, that's lethal. That's lethal. Oh. There's 6 health on board, so there's 15 life total, and he has 16 damage. That's he could even Fireball, Brain Freeze, and then Mask of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Just Fireball and Mask is enough. Oh!
Wow, what a game. Very close. What a series. Nalguidan's going to advance to Sunday, and Language Hacker did the best that he could. I don't think he was anticipating Quite that kind of outcome, but at the same time, you know, Mage just does a bunch of this kind of stuff all the time, and Nalguidan navigated some really tricky turns. Also, you know, hats off to lnguagehackr. He also had some pretty tough turns too. And in this kind of sea of chaos, you know, those who are able to be very steady and consistent with their good technical play can sometimes reverse even the most unlikely scenarios. In this scenario where we thought that Nalguidan would fall too far behind in tempo and they're committing to a burn plan, lnguagehackr just barely gets out of range because of soul fragments. And you can see how much this match means to them too. Both these players so desperately want to make sure to get every win and every point they possibly can. I love that as lnguagehackr goes down and puts down his drink, he is enraged, right, by the situation and just so narrowly misses out. It was very close back and forth. A hard-fought series, but in the end, Nalguidan takes it 2-1.
I mean, just look how